Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams, and our focus this morning will begin on an organization that was created 8 years ago. They're committed to strengthening community bonds through the art of storytelling and go by the name of XFabula. And here to tell us all about it is McGee, who serves as the executive director, and Cesar Torres, who is a storyteller and a member of XFabula. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. And I really am interested in learning more about XFabula and how it all got started.
Sure. Well, about 8 years ago, there were a group of people that kept having the same conversation. We were talking about how powerful storytelling was and just saying somebody should start a storytelling group here. I mean, there were a lot of other cities that had storytelling programs, but nothing here. And after a while, I think a common friend said, "You guys are clearly passionate about it. Why don't you start it?" And honestly, Milwaukee is a great place to start things. I think it's the right size where if you have an idea, you can make it happen. So we went to Maharaja and had a lunch buffet, and over those 90 minutes, we decided that we were just going to try to put on an event and see what happened. So 6 weeks later, we had our first event at Art Bar over in River West, and
it was a success.
Yes, and it just went on from there.
That's awesome. And so when you talk about people telling stories, there is a power that goes along with that.
Absolutely.
Fill us in on that.
Yeah, I think, you know, we live in a world where not everybody is heard, but everybody has important perspectives to share. And so when people share stories, not only does it, you know, it builds empathy in the audience, but for the individual storyteller, it can be like a healing experience, an empowering experience. And at the same time, it still feels like entertainment.
I like that. I like that. And so this is the thing that I think I love most is that you guys are really keen on bringing in diversity. And so you guys said that you do events from Bronzeville to Bayview, from, I guess, what, Westtown to, I don't know, Sherman Park.
Yeah, absolutely. And really everywhere in between. There are a lot of programs out there where, you know, a theater company may have their theater, their building. We go from place to place, and we're always looking for new venues and new partners, because I love the idea that some people will check out an event purely because it's 2 blocks away from them. So it's a nice way to reach new people, create accessibility as well. So the last year, we actually had participants from every city in Milwaukee zip code, and we look at those sorts of things to say, whose voices are we hearing, whose voices aren't we hearing, and why?
Well, I like it. And Cesar, you are a new member of XFabula.
Correct.
So how did you learn about the organization and what made you want to be a part of it?
Well, basically, I just look it up through Facebook. So one of my friends usually you know, every time there was a story slam. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go check it out and see how it is. And it was amazing. And what I love about XFabula is they try to reach, you know, not just a small group, but they try to reach everybody in the city. Like me as a Hispanic, I felt like, you know, oh, how nice, how cool that this group decides to reach everybody. And I had the chance to tell my story, and it was amazing. I love it. I fell in love with that place.
That is awesome. And Megan, you guys actually work on a lot of different levels. So not just individuals, you go with corporations, nonprofits, schools, and youth, and you even allow people to do private parties.
Sure.
So it's across the board.
Yeah, you figure different people are going to come to the programming in different ways. So we've partnered with community groups and nonprofits, sometimes to do story slams that were very specific to a topic. So for example, this February we worked with Marquette and with Project Return, and we did a story slam specifically about incarceration and really exploring what is the, you know, so-called criminal justice system and how can we make it more just? How does it need to change? But by hearing directly from individuals who have been incarcerated and by hearing from people at Marquette who've worked with them. So that was a pretty powerful collaboration.
Yeah, I find it very interesting. And Cesar, back to you. You had a chance to tell a story on stage. So it makes me wonder, does someone need to be extroverted, or do you have people who are a little shy, who you can tell are shy when they tell their story? I mean, mean, is it across the board? Are you shy, or would you?
I'm actually a kind of like shy person.
Really?
I only like to be with small groups of people.
Okay.
I don't like to be like talk with big groups. But it was.
But that's changed.
Exactly. But it's encouraging when you hear the stories and you learn about that. It is actually like such a good experience, and then that's where I decided, okay, well, I should probably tell a story. And the story back on that time, it was a bit about the American dream. So I felt like that was the topic that I should have talked, and I did.
Okay.
So there is a variety of topics that they pick, and they all sound awesome, but that one was mine, let's put it that way.
And you have a very interesting story, because if I'm correct, you moved from Peru to Milwaukee in your early 20s?
Yeah, well, I was like, 23 when I moved to the United States.
You're probably only 26 now, but okay.
Almost.
So I'm sure it's an intriguing thing, because not everybody can say that they've moved from one place on the map all the way across the world to start a new life, and to hear somebody else's story and their experience really does not only teach people about, maybe some of the things that you've experienced in life, but it also brings about things like empathy and compassion, and it really does really bring people together, right?
Absolutely. In a world where there's a lot of sound bites and there's a lot of simplicity, like, we realize that everyone has complex stories, and that it's really, once you give someone a chance to speak, you just feel connected to them in a different way. I think it's also nice because either you're hearing a story that's so different from your own and you're learning, or you're hearing something where you're like, yes, that happened to me too. That really resonates. I feel less alone.
Yeah, and then, like you said, in a world where there's sound bites and you just read on the internet, you might be reading quick stories, and in the world of fake news,
Right. Yes.
you really sometimes form opinions about things and even people.
Yes.
And you realize in just talking to someone or listening to their story that you might not have been 100% on point in passing judgment.
Absolutely. And in fact, we have a whole program called the XFabula Fellowship that's all about race and equity. And the goal there is for community members to develop and then share personal stories. They're going to help other people think about race and think about segregation, and then have meaningful conversation about it. Okay. So really, it's all about how can you leverage the power of personal stories to help people figure out how we can build a better Milwaukee.
Okay.
Everyone has a voice.
So this is what I'm interested in finding out. For someone who's at home saying that is very interesting, I would love to come and just watch, or someone who would like to take part, what are the guidelines?
Well, at our monthly slams, anyone can put their name in the hat. You just have to show up a few minutes early just to fill out the form. We do record audio of the stories, so we just want to get permission. But then if you have a true personal story and you can tell it in 5 minutes or less without any notes, that's all you need. I mean,
so is this a contest, kind of?
Some of our monthly events, those do offer the audience the chance at the end to vote for an audience favorite. We don't rank everybody, though, because it's really about the community building.
Yeah.
It is fun to pick a winner, but that's kind of secondary.
Just competition always makes me work harder.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that element is really fun. But I mean, in the end, we want to create a supportive environment.
Yeah.
So we have a timekeeper that shows them time cards, just so if you're on stage, you can pace yourself. We have a lot of little things put in place so that anyone can be successful.
Yeah.
Really, that's what it's about.
And with that said, you offer one-on-one storytelling coaches.
Yep. So if people want to develop a story and they're just not sure how, we offer workshops. You can work one-on-one with a storytelling coach. We want to find all the different ways to support people, because some people will say, I would never get on stage. But I've had that conversation, and 3 years later, seen that person tell a story, and that moment is pretty great. I really love whenever we get first-timers or people that maybe are a little hesitant, because there's so much power, and you just got to hear it.
So, Cesar, we don't have time to hear a whole story, but tell us something intriguing about your move from Peru to Milwaukee that, would cause people to, even just that little bit of information, know more about who you are and how you are who you are today because of that.
Well, when I moved to the United States and I moved to Milwaukee, it is such a different culture, and the weather, I think it's the biggest shock for me.
No.
Because, yes. And and just the fact that, you know, you have to learn to, like, you know, learn the culture and with the people. It's hard to build friends, and, you know, but overall, you know, like, you just have to, like, you just keep going. There is people that they are the most welcoming people, and then you're gonna find the opposite side too. But overall, I love being here. I moved here, and I got my family, I got my wife, I got my kid, I got my dog, I got my house. It is pretty much just like I told my story. It was my American dream.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to accomplish whatever I could do, compared to Peru, where probably you don't have that many opportunities. So I cannot be any more thankful to be here, and yeah, I love it. I love being here in Milwaukee. I love being here in the United States.
All right, thank you for sharing that. And that is really something that a lot of people need to hear during the political climate, without us, you know, really giving our opinions. You know, you talk about refugees who are trying to escape to a better life. You talk about immigrants, and there's so many different feelings and thoughts out there. But to hear someone talk about the American dream and what it means to them, and, you know, you've got your house, your dog, your kids, your family, you know, and it's all good. So, and if that's all that people really want in life, why can't they be able to obtain that?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think through hearing stories, we discover maybe what are some of the barriers that other people weren't aware of. I mean, my challenges have been different. You know, I'm a white woman with a master's degree. You got to acknowledge that.
Oh, do you think that's a challenge?
It's a challenge.
Well, you do have some big events coming up. You've got the MKE Big Read storytelling workshops and bilingual story slams in partnership with the Milwaukee Public Library. So a long list of events people can look for. Some of those are free of charge as well.
Actually, all of the Milwaukee, all of the Big Read events. So we hope people come on out and start developing their stories and sharing, because we got to hear them all.
And how did you actually go about partnering with the Milwaukee Public Library in what it is you do and what they do, and making it something that you could do together?
Yeah. Well, you know, our mission is strengthening community bonds. The whole point of the Big Read is to bring communities together through great books. So I think it was a natural collaboration. And we've been working with lots of different community groups for years, and usually it starts small. We did recently do a workshop that was specifically for teens, working with the library. But basically, through all these conversations, we just find we have similar goals. And so, especially because the book that they're reading this year, In the Time of the Butterflies, has to do with Latin America, and we have done some bilingual programming. I think that was the opportunity that we saw. We said, great, we've wanted to do another bilingual slam, let's do it.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful, and especially when you talk about all of these outstanding organizations that we have in Milwaukee and surrounding areas, and when they're able to come together and really bring the best of both worlds together, it really does turn into something grand. So I think this is wonderful, and people can find out more information about XFabula as well as the different events that are taking place on your website.
Yep, xfabula.org.
Okay, that's simple as that.
Yeah.
Thank you both for coming by. I think it's intriguing, and I wonder if a person that talks as much as myself could actually do a story without going over the time limit.
I know you could. Well, I'll look forward to hearing it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to stop by and check it out. Very interesting. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Megan McGee is the Executive Director of Ex Fabula, and Cesar Torres is a storyteller and member of the organization. For more information, you can again visit xfabula.org or call 414-530-3503. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll meet a representative from the Milwaukee Public Library. She's going to fill us in on the MKE Big Read and a whole lot more right after this.